Today, we will talk about a subject post-pandemic that is more common than ever. It's why most gyms go out of business. So today, our goal is to better understand this phenomenon that is arriving a lot and to maybe find some solution and some tricks and to trigger some orientation for your thinking on your side. To talk about that, we have joined an expert, Perry. Hi, Perry.
Hey, Etienne, how are you?
Really good, and you?
Good, thanks.
Perry, can you introduce yourself for the people that do not know you?
Sure, not a problem. My name is Perry Tucciarone. I'm the Director of Business Development for the Antaris Merchant Treasury Club Management Software System. I've been in the industry well over 30 years. I was a gym owner for many years. I opened a Gold's Gym when I was 21 years old. I worked for 24 Hour Fitness in California for a number of years. I've been a fitness consultant setting up clubs across Canada. I opened some women's clubs as well. I'm a board member of I just stepped down, a provincial councillor of the FIC, the Fitness Industry Council of Canada, and I was in the middle of the fight helping clubs in Ontario specifically during COVID, but I've been, an FIC board member for probably like 8 years now. And I'm also on a board of another not-for-profit called Prescription Get Active, a doctor referral program trying to get the Canadians active and moving and going to gyms to work out.
So that's why we have chosen Perry for doing this webinar, because Perry has already been a gym founder, a gym owner, and he has already been also in the FIC. That just little pause here. I advise every gym that are right now listening to us in Canada to be part of the FIC. This is the Fitness Industry Council. This is where all the gyms are merging together for having a better voice to the instance, like government instance and everything. So I really advise it. So, and you have been a member of the board of this, or you are still. And so that's what is making really Perry today important for this webinar. I'm putting into the chat if you wanted to answer the question, if you are right now manager of a club or the owner, or if you are in the process of opening one, just it can help us better make it better precise our webinar today. So let's dive into the subject right away. Maybe mistake that make gyms go out of business. For the first question, it will be just what's the most common mistake, Perry, you see into people that are starting a gym?
The people said that one of the biggest mistakes is they do have a lot of passion. And they do have a good plan to help their community to get people fit and healthy. A lot of them don't analyze the business component as deeply as they should. And a lot of times fitness clubs are undercapitalized. So they come in, they have a great club, great facility, great team, but they don't have their financing where it should be, because to build a successful gym, for example, it's all about cash flow. So you need set up recurring revenue streams in your facility. And so if you do take that model, which is the most successful model, what most fitness clubs do these days, then when you're with your initial investment, you also need to have enough financing to cover shortfalls. So if you're selling all your memberships as reoccurring, where you get a deposit and an automated pre-authorized payment, either biweekly or monthly, well, you're not getting your money up front. So you need to you need to have the financing available to cover your shortfall until your recurring revenue comes up to meet your operating expenses.
And that's true. This is one of the points. And at Hexfit, I didn't present it myself, but normally, like, everybody know me because of the webinar. But at Hexfit, we're a software for personal trainer and gym owner for managing more like the daily task of tracking the client. And we see that a lot. We see a bunch of coach that are professional into the technicality of their job of how to train people, but then they are lacking some knowledge on the side of the management. And I agree with you. The financial aspect is one of the biggest point for starting a gym, and the cash flow is why most of enterprises are going out of business. What are the financial elements that can make or break a business?
Well, it's the financial part. Obviously, we just alluded to is having the proper finance, but you need a proper business plan. So you need to really calculate your expenses, like what your sales costs are, what your marketing costs are, your employees, and what are your short and long term goals as well too. So they all need to be incorporated in there. And also, it's important to create other revenue streams within your fitness facility. IHRSA studies have shown that clubs are more successful and members stay longer for retention if they're getting more revenue per member. So if the person purchases a membership, then will buy personal training or buy a boot camp or buy other things in the club. IHRSA studies show that that person has a higher retention rate than if people just buy their membership and show up to the club as well. So all those come into factors, all built into your business plan to know your cost, to be able to know what the finance you need, and also take into account and build additional revenue streams within your fitness facility.
Yeah, clearly. And this is why we're always promoting the fact of adding personal training services and to promote it. Because IHRSA, that's it. Everybody will say that it's just increasing the retention of the client. Mm-hmm. I'm putting an article that you have shared us for the audience, why gyms need cash flow management to reestablish growth. So normally you will have pop up on the bottom left of your screen. That can be a really interesting article to go read about, just to better understand the cash flow importance into your business. For managing that, our coach that are normally becoming business owner, gym owner, they are still good into the technical, but not the accountant side. Do you think a new business owner should immediately hire an accountant?
Well, you know what? It depends. Do you have an accountant? Well, you should have some financial expertise via probably an accountant when you set up your business plan. So you should have that in effect when you start. And if you have the right software that you can manage all your revenue streams and everything goes on in your club, it'll make it easier to be able to reconcile bank statements, which accounting always comes into play, but you may only need a bookkeeper to start, just to help you with those records. But having a financial expert, at your disposal is always a positive thing. But you can minimize the cost of that if you spend it, invest in that when you start your business, and know what your costs are going to be, what the financing is going to be, what your revenue streams are going to be, what your costs are going to be, and also having a right management software to be able to help you automate and control and have that data at your disposal to share with a bookkeeper or an accountant.
Like, when you say an appropriate software, are we talking about Excel?
No. Excel, if you're planning on using Excel, you're going to have a challenge. Now, the software, I can, most softwares out there, I can speak to ours because our software specializes in automation. So it has, basically, it controls your, when you set up the membership, the automation, where you can save money, for example, and where it helps calculate things and minimize mistakes is through admin. Like automation, having the members allowed to, to purchase memberships online or at the club online, being able to book their classes if they have personal training or a paid for class, a group exercise class that's an extra, like a yoga or a boot camp, to be able to have that tracked through a software. So the member can only sign up, register for the class or the training session if they paid for it, or to be able to track the session counts. So to be able to, at the end of it, the club owner will know when the session counts are coming down towards zero, and then also have automation to be able to re-engage with that member to renew and to communicate that way. And then all those things you'll be able to extract from the software, all the data and all your reports. So all these little things that are important factors where your software could really be a benefit to you. And there's other things to generate revenue, and there's the ones that control your revenue and reduce. Hey, if you have your members making change requests online themselves, or if they want to pull out a report to submit to their office for a reimbursement for a corporate membership, the more that your members can do on their own, the less work and less chance of admin data entry errors at the club level as well too. So there's a lot of things that you can do, that a software can do, to make your life easy through automation and minimize mistakes if you have your system set up properly in the beginning.
And one of the biggest issues that I see, it's for sure the fact that you
Okay, so I think Etienne's frozen. Okay, we've lost Etienne. So I can. Oh, there you are. Okay, sorry, Etienne, you cut out there for a minute.
Yeah, sorry, I had a difficulty with my internet. What I was saying is just, if you don't have control about your data, you will miss information that can lead to bankruptcy or close business. So if you don't see what is happening with every of your KPIs, all of your info, the reservation and everything, and you're just going with feelings, maybe you will discover that you are going out of business 2 months too late, compared to with a software or with good management and or like with a good accountant. You can better see that coming, better doing forecasting, and so to be able to manage the issue before it's too late. For everybody that is listening to us, if you want to learn more about Antaris, you can click again on the bottom left. It's a super great software that we have saw at Hexfit Pro in Toronto, and so I just advise to go see. And it's for sure better than an Excel file. So really take care of having the control of your KPIs to better forecasting everything that is going. And when you're doing forecasting, do it the most pessimist way possible. The only way you will be more surprised of the results instead of being bankrupt.
Yeah, a lot of people, it's interesting, the KPI. Sorry up there, Etienne, because the software should be able to do that as well too. Like our software can add, you can put in your parameters and you can actually at the end of each business day have emailed to you all your KPIs for the day that you select the data for those KPIs for guests, calls, walkthroughs, sales, fitness consultations, training, sales, et cetera, and you can have a daily total and a month-to-date total, so you can meet your targets. Because you always need to set targets for your club as well. So you need sales, because your sales does drive the wheel. And it's interesting where Etienne mentioned about just the passion, all that at the beginning. It kind of goes back when I started my goals gym, and I was 21. We had a bunch of fitness fanatics who had a lot of passion, and we had the best facility in our town, my hometown of Guelph, Ontario. Everything was the best, but we were failing. And the only reason we succeeded is we realized, you know what, we're missing something. So we hired a professional consultant back then who was to this day is my mentor, who taught us the systems, how to run the club properly, how to operate properly, how to track properly, to be able to move the club ahead to become successful. So it's really important to have that expertise and have that knowledge of how to manage your data and to know what data to look for, and also to be able to use that data to plan ahead.
Yeah, fully. I will say then, first, you need to be the best. Are you still there? Sorry. I'm really having a bad internet right now, so everybody, I'm sorry if sometimes I'm disconnecting. That's just for that. But I will always come back. That's like it. But so you need to have the control of your systems, of your data, and to have professional accounting helping you for managing well your cash flow and everything. First and great. Now, the second reason why I see most of the gyms going out of business is just the location where they are. That's an important point that we're never really discussing, but where are we opening a gym? What is the location that are good, bad? How do you see that?
Okay, so first I want to make one other point for the last talk about cash flow. What a lot of fitness clubs don't pay attention to the beginning till it's too late is the failed payments as well too, because you will get accounts receivable from your recurring payments also, and what will have typically fitness clubs between 5 and 8% return payments. So you need tools in place to be able to identify, to be able to recover failed payments and let your members know. Like through our system, there's automated notifications that will send text, email, and telephone messages to those members coming from the club. The members don't know you exist, and notify them. So make sure you have systems in place to be able to recover the failed payments. So I just want to get that last point out for the last topic. And when it comes to location, location obviously is very important. Two ways to look at it. If you have a high volume, busy intersection in a big strip mall, big plaza with some anchors like a grocery store or a Costco or a Home Depot, whatever. Obviously that's high traffic, but your rent is expensive as well too. So you can be paying high rent for that. I'm not saying that's not a good choice. Then comes again your financing and your accounting, your projections of how much revenue you need to make money in that location. If you're taking a location that people have to drive to, may not be on a main intersection. Well, typically in those areas, there's nothing wrong with that. Your rent's a lot less, but you got to really incorporate. You're not going to get a lot of drive-by traffic. You need to incorporate marketing, to your community as well, to let them know where you are, to get traffic in there. So that's a big component. So your location is based on a couple things. So if high volume, a busy area means high rent. So you better make sure you have the financing to be able to cover that and make sure it's feasible to make money there. If it's just out in like a commercial area or a industrial area or just a little bit off the main streets, then you need to take into account that, your rent's less, but your members need to know, or your community needs to know where you are and where you have. So that's where your marketing comes in. And in that, again, is budgeted. So these days, social media is huge. So you need your social media through your Facebook, through your Instagram, through all these channels, get members out, information out to your community as well. And as well as just the regular marketing within your members too, because your members, if you do a good job and look after your members, they're your best referral because they'll bring people to you. So you really need programs in your place to help your members, if they're happy members, to be able to bring other members in. So those are the two distinctions of location. And is where the big busy intersection, then you need to take into account, the cost of it and what's your business plan. It may be less feasible for a smaller business than more for a large one. So if you have a smaller key club, 24/7, it's 4,000 square feet, you may not be as feasible because you still have high rent, not as much as a big box, but you're not going to get the volume. And then that's where the extra revenue streams come in too. Are you selling PT? Are you selling other functional training programs? Are you selling classes, whatever you're doing? So those all have to be taken a factor. And if you're not on a main street, then, you need to make sure that you have a plan in place to get your community to know where you are to come out to your club as well.
Yeah, really. And I didn't know at the beginning, again, I had a difficulty, but just for I don't know if you said it, but so I'm installing my gym. Everything is going well. I did a good forecasting, and a new gym is opening next door.
I've had that experience many times. If I'm owning and consulting clubs, you need to have. That's why customer service is important for your for your business and getting to know your members, have that familiarity. Because if you're an independent and a big box store comes down the street, which I've experienced. Well, the big box store, then what's the value of your business? Why do I stay here instead of going to your competitor? So it's really important to have that message and this is ongoing, just, with the customer service and providing, always keep your equipment clean, functioning, breakdowns are minimal, always get something new. What's why finding the old days, you can keep equipment for 10, 15 years. And not upgrade at all, you cannot do that anymore. You need to upgrade and add something new every year. A lot of clubs now will have, they'll call it a gym improvement fee. And once a year, they'll tack on an annual fee to the members and take that money and put it towards investing something into that club as well. Even if it's something small, if the members know you're adding, then the members know you're adding, then they know that you're there for them, okay? And the other component of that is really, if you're an independent operator, you need to be like the mayor in your community. Everyone needs to know who you are and why you are. Because if a big box store opens up close by, why are you different than them? Well, you know what? You may have 20 treadmills and they may have 40 treadmills. You may have 10 ellipticals, and they may have 20 ellipticals. So they'll be bigger with volume, but they lose that touch of the personality. The members in those clubs, though, even though they're successful, they do well, and they're beautiful clubs, well, they lose part of that personal touch, and a lot of these members become just a number. So you need to be able to make your members so you know their names, that to have that value. So they like what you offer, they know what you're all about, and you need to differentiate yourself. Why stay here? Don't critique the new club, but what you do that differentiates yourself from that big box store or the competitor that opens up down the street. And that compelling story starts in the beginning by just having a good relationship with your members. I have a 10-foot rule, with my staff when I used to run clubs. Hey, if anyone's within 10 feet of you, you say hi. You got to build that relationship with all your members, and then you'll build that loyalty. You're not going to keep them all, obviously, but it'll have a big impact if a big box store comes in just around the corner from you.
Really. And you can also find a niche. So you can find a style of client that is really specific. Like I know one here in Montreal or Quebec that are specifically for pregnant women. So you are really into a niche that no matter who is opening on the side, it's not changing anything. And even when you are really in a niche, you are not a proximity commerce, you're becoming also an experience commerce. So people will do the extra miles to reach you and to come to your gym. So that can make yourself more protected on the top of customer service, listening to your member request and all of that. But now that you have that, you need also to marketing all of this, all of those message that you are having. Do you have any big mistake that you have saw into marketing in the industry?
Well, it keeps going in cycles, right? When I started, it was just all personal touch, and it was all referrals, and have that, and have your members, hey, get names and numbers and invite their friends in for guest passes. Then it went through a phase of direct mail marketing, which I'm kind of dating myself, and I was like I worked for a company on the side with my club that really was the first scratch and win. So the direct mail marketing was big, just to get people in the club, but very, very expensive. But everyone did it, and people and the communities got wise to it. So now what's old again is really building a relationship in your community, okay, with marketing, but be able to, have the referral programs for your members, having corporate relationships in your community, having corporate open houses and events at your club as well too, to get people in there that it's, to enjoy that location, and using technology, we created, and we did this during COVID because we knew a lot of people were leaving the clubs. We created a very unique digital guest pass, and to my knowledge, no one else has done this. So the digital guest pass allows you to do is just automatically communicate with members to get guests in. And the digital guest pass, it's whatever the club wants or the facility wants. It could be a free trial, a free training session, a free week. It doesn't really matter. So different ways of implementing it. One, when a member signs up, they can, and I'm assuming most people are going paperless these days. If you're not, you should go paperless. But in your membership agreement, you can actually have a referral line, and for the member to just give a name and an email address if that you want to give a free pass to a friend of yours or acquaintance of yours. So once you save the membership, our system automatically emails that member, the guest from that member, the guest pass with the instructions provided by our club operator as well too. So you can do it at the point of sale. The digital guest pass, another thing you can do with it is you can actually use your bulk SMS or bulk email to send notifications out to your database. And typically in a club, there's three audiences you target, and you can target independent messages to each audience. One are your former members, we want you back. Two is your current members to invite guests, and three are just all your prospects and leads who came to your club or inquired about your club and did not buy. So you can do bulk SMS and bulk email for those audiences through the system and provide a digital guest pass. You can do automated digital guest passes. So you can set, again, the operator sets the parameters. You can send an automated guest pass, digital guest pass to your member once a month, quarterly, semi-annually. So they're always getting an automated message from you to invite a guest down. And then even our app, if they have a digital guest pass on there, what they do, it actually, you can bring a guest in, and has a barcode to redeem it right at the club. Or when they want to share it, it pulls up their individual contacts through, just could be, SMS, could be email, it could be WhatsApp, whatever, it could be Instagram. So all those little tools to automate. So that's an example of automating. We're at no cost to the club operator, except the minimal cost because you have to pay for your bulk SMS, but to be able to do things like that. So that's one way of going about just automating things as well. I can go on and on if you like. So I don't know if you want to throw something in there, Etienne, or I can keep going.
No, that's fine. But like everything we're talking, marketing can be hard at the end of the day. Like you need a professional website, you need a web presence, you need to market to the good audience. You should not do it to the wrong one. Like if you are targeting, I don't know, young hockey player, and you are doing social media for 45 years old woman, you're really off target. So there's all of that you need to have conscious of and to take care of doing right. And maybe as for the accountant we were talking earlier, maybe you will need a professional or somebody else for you, and that's not negative.
And also, I just want to add one more thing, Etienne. As far as social media, which is a really key component, and I really strongly urge social media. I know everyone's probably doing it, but the key that a lot of people don't do is you need to monitor it on a daily basis, because you're going to get positive things in your social media, but you may get a negative comment. And if you get a negative comment, you need to address that right away with the person who sent that comment out as well too. So social media is huge, but you need to monitor it daily. If you're not going to monitor it on a daily basis, you can run into definitely some problems doing that through the marketing through social media.
Yeah, clearly. And most of the time, what you're saying, like somebody that is stopping to watch social media and everything, it's when the business is trying to grow super fast. Do you think that trying to grow fast can lead to bankruptcy? And
it depends how you're growing super fast. Is because you have a great location, there's a need, and you have the marketing budget and you bring a lot of people in, then that's okay. But it's what you do to those people, because you need to service them as well too. You need to service them, and then you need to, and then go back to additional revenue streams, right? You have to have additional revenue streams there through PT and functional training programs, all this, virtual classes you can do as well. So all these things you have to get more revenue per member, and by being able to service them, then also, you need part of the marketing is now, how do I leverage this boom of new members to create another, group of new members from that as well too? And that's where all the marketing comes in. It could be, the form of the digital marketing through, like the digital guest pass. It could be just email blasts on your own if you want to get creative. If you want to send a link to a family add-on special, for example, so you can send bulk SMS or email to your members saying, hey, we have a family add-on promotion. Christmas is a great time to do that, where you can send out a nice bulk email or bulk SMS to your membership base and have a link right on there where they can actually, if your software has that capability, to be able to just sign someone up right away, right from a link on your email as well too. So you need to be able to leverage all that as well too. And you can also, aside from the standard ones, a lot of if you're looking at opening up a larger facility, because there's a lot more competition now as well. There's so many boutiques out there, and they're all good. You have your CrossFit, you have your Orange Theory, you have your 9 rounds, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You have your yoga studios. So what some of the bigger facilities are doing, they have the space, and they're building what's called a gym, a gym within the gym, a gym in a box. So if they have that extra space, so to compete with those boutiques, they'll pick one. It could be competing against like one of the cross training or the functional training programs, and they just have a separate room and they charge a separate membership. So instead of paying $180 a month, they can charge the members $99 a month because it's already built into the rent. So having that gym within a gym, if you have that larger facility, and if you're the boutique part of it, then you need to create that excitement and energy, why this is a great program to get your guests in as well and all these marketing tools that I'm bringing up applies if you're a boutique. and it applies to your large box store as well too, and all in between. So you really need to look at your audience and then also be able to market to them and service them and look at ways of bringing in new people on a regular basis. Some are expensive, like if your direct mail is really expensive, it's not really efficient anymore. But there's a lot of tools that you can use that are really cost effective to be able to bring people in as well.
Yeah, and don't grow faster than your revenue. Like, and this, I think we need to repeat it: slow but steady growth.
Exactly, that's the thing. Slow and steady wins the race. That's for sure. So, like I said, that's if
everybody wants the hockey stick.
And that's why going back to our original point of setting your business up is important to have that business plan and have your cash up for a gradual growth, right? And a gradual growth. If you're a chain, and you're a chain and there's 20 locations and now the 21st location, then you can have a spike. You can have that spike because a lot of people know your name, but when you don't have that name and you're new, then you need to build up that relationship in the community. So it's more that steady, slow growth. And even if it's a boutique with a name, even if it's like an Orange Theory or a 9-round or an F45 or a yoga studio, you still, because they're smaller, you're not going to get that volume and that big bang as a large organization goes. And the general public may not know as much of the boutiques that are out there as they do with the big names that are out there, like a Good Life or a LA Fitness or a Crunch, et cetera, et cetera. So those type of clubs can expect a spike, but they also have the wherewithal to handle it as well too.
Exactly. But to plan really a steady growth, not a hockey stick one, exponential. That way, in the worst case, you are all good. In the best case, you just have you have bigger result than your expectations, and so everybody is just happy. But plan something slow and steady, and there's nothing negative to be a steady growth. It's really good. Most of the business are working like this. As you said, this is the slow and steady growth that are winning on the long term normally. So no stress.
I just want to add that because that is a really important point just made, Etienne, because to have that growing too fast, it's very unique to grow too fast unless you're going to dump a lot of money into marketing as well too. So there's a big cost applied to growing too fast, which if you don't manage it properly and take the approach of slow, steady growth, you can have some quick shortfalls shortly thereafter.
But maybe now, how do we know when we can expand more? So I have my first location, maybe it's going well. I want to expand. How can I know that I'm ready to expand?
It's really key component to do this. And then just with my experience, and I take this from back when I was at 24 Hour Fitness, like you need to have your first club running successfully and making profit. And if that's a year, 2 years, 3 years, probably you're looking at the 2 to 3 year range that you're successful. And not only that, you need to have all your systems in place, right? You have to have it all organized because when you open that second location, you need to be able to cookie cut that first one and have all the systems in the first one go into the second one, and then have the team. More than likely, you would hire, and if you, the owner, can jump, you'll have either a manager at the first location, then you jump in the second location, or you can have, the manager at the first location. Now they've been trained and running the system, and you oversee it. They can jump to the second location. So it's really important not to grow too quickly, because then you're going to run into problems. Here's a good example of a very successful chain, 24 Hour Fitness. And I use this as an example because I worked there many years ago. They opened their first club in a small town in, Carlsbad, California. It took them 3 years to open the second club. It took them over 2 years to open the third club. And then it started to grow, and they built that team. And and then they had the financing, and they just expanded. So all of a sudden when they opened the fourth and the fifth, they just kept the team in place to go in there. They're not training new people. They hire some staff, of course, and train them. But the team running it is all experienced. They keep moving around. So you need that team involved. And that's the way they grew. And it took them probably 12 years to get up to like 5 clubs. And now 24 Hour Fitness is 500-600 clubs worldwide now. But they didn't just jump into it, right?
Yeah. And to auto-finance yourself, like to be able to finance your second club with the profit of the first club. So you are not financing with cash that is not coming from clients. And I like your idea of moving to the new opening and putting a managing team into the previous one. And so that way you are always where the biggest challenges are. And since you are the owner of the company, you can manage that new things. But as you are saying, then you need good employees as a management team into the previous locations or in any other, like, no, doesn't matter if it's multiple location or just in one gym with multiple service. At some point, you need good people. You need to hire good people. How do you choose those employees? Because they can bring you.
Well, what's really important is the theory that I go by, again, is from my 24-hour fitness, because I saw it work. And I've been using this philosophy ever since then, is, you need your systems in place, right? Whatever your business system to run your fitness facility, whatever it is, that is the Bible. That is, that is what you use. So when you're hiring people, they need to know, what, if they want to make suggestions, that's okay, but they need to do it this way or it's not going to work. No matter how good or talented or experienced they are, you need to do it this way. And the reason I use that 24-hour fitness experience, because when I was there, they recruited me to go down. And even though I own clubs, ran clubs, I had to start at the bottom, and they did it with everyone. They recruited, they paid me extra to do that. But the point I'm trying to make is they brought all these talented people to the table, but they started at the bottom to do the system. So what would happen is if this talented individual worked the system, then they moved up, had success, made money. If this talented individual did not operate within the system, they just let them go, but the system was not affected. It did not, it did not negatively affect other team members, the system, how the system operates, what the club, the members go. It did not affect anything, because now you just have someone who's just starting that you kind of let go because they didn't follow the system. So the key is your system. Yeah. And hiring the right people, obviously the people that we, on this call more have experience, they'll know what they want. And someone who wants, to operate a club, be it a trainer, be it an instructor, be it a reception, be it someone in sales and management, health center manager, they know the criteria they want and need, but they need to have that system in place. And one of the prerequisites of hiring that individual is to say, this is the system. If you become an employee, I'm being blunt, obviously you're nicer than that, but you be blunt if you like, if you're the individual, but this is the system. You need to work here. We want you here, but this is the way it has to be done. If it's not going to be done that way, then it's not going to work. And then we'll have to just move on to someone else.
Really put your frame of training your employees and the way you want them to be.
That's part of it. Sure. The part is having training them, but make it clear. And when they start that you're going to train them, but in our system, and that's the way they do it. Because I've seen also many times in health clubs where one manager leaves, they hire a new manager, and the other manager comes from a different environment, and they go to make new changes all the time. And because there wasn't the system that they had to do it, then all of a sudden there's always a period of chaos. And then, then some people I like the old manager. And I said, I like the new manager. So you need that consistency of the system. So the person comes in. So I'm going back to that again, because hiring and training is important, but next component, the other component that's really the gray area that's really important, is to operate within the system that you have created for your business.
The last subject I would like to talk about with you, Perry, will be the evolution. So any gym owner, we just said it will be on 5, 10, 20, 30 years that you will own your gyms. And we just saw it in the last 3 years with the COVID. There's a pre-COVID, there's a during COVID, and there's a after COVID. Just there, we have a bunch of change. So my question will just be, if I'm a gym owner and I don't want to go out of business, how do I manage the evolution of our industry? And we know how fast the healthcare industry.
Well, it's important to be instead of just staying steady in the same place, you need to learn what's new in the industry as well. You need to attend conferences like CanFit Pro. URSA is a big one. And, I find the best, operators, and they tend, even if they've been in business 10, 15, 20 years, they will still go to URSA and go to seminars to see what's new out there, to see, because the people who flip to virtual, for example, well, there's some people just, during COVID, well, virtual is a viable tool, but it's not the way to run. It's not going to help you. It helped during COVID to get a little bit of extra revenue in. But now, some people says, okay, COVID's over, so no more virtual, but some people like working at home. So instead of losing a member, they can include they can actually use it as an additional bit of revenue. So your membership's, $50 a month. If you want access to the virtual library, it's $60 a month. So you can use that as the tool. So it's important to be what's out there, utilize your technology, and just really be in the know and go to these industry events. And I think it's really important to share information with, at these events, you'll meet other operators as well. You probably know some in your community. So it's good to share information to see what's new, as what they're doing, and and inquire, and just don't be afraid to ask questions and learn. So if you always learn what is new out there, and then you evaluate. You don't just take everyone's word for it. Evaluate. Says, if that makes sense, because you got to look at, okay, what's it going to take to implement this? What's the potential revenue stream, or what's the potential retention of if I do this inside the facility as well? So there's a lot of factors in there. But it's important just to be reaching out and always changing. The other thing you need to do is, you want to know what your competition is doing as well, because you don't want to lag behind. So you want to see what they're doing, what's new with them as well too, and just and it's not a secret. It's been done for years. Just go yourself or send someone in just to shop it. You ask a prospect and see what they're doing. Because they may not be willing to share their secrets with you, but see what they're up to as well. And you need to be, and that's why I went back to my point before, like a lot of fitness clubs now use that business improvement fee, and always add something, even if it's small. That every year add something new, add something new to the facility to show that you're putting back into the club as well too. And that way you'll build that loyalty that, hey, you know what? You're not just taking the money, when things, so if a competitor opens up, they're going to think twice about leaving. They'll want us to prefer to stay. So it's really important to always add something new, and tying back into new programs again. Just always look for new things to create new revenue streams. Because I find with a lot of the, a lot of the group exercise, for example, well, participants will, it's always ever changing. There's always new programs with less mills, a lot of great things out there. You got to be on top of that, because the member will get bored of one, and then all of a sudden they'll move on to another type of class. So you need to know what's new out there, what types of classes are out there, what's in demand, and add those to your club as well. Because I've seen this, because when I started my Gold's Gym, we just had step aerobics was new. Okay, I don't know if anyone even knows what that is. So you always have to see what's new out there and implement new programs. And if you implement new programs that have a revenue stream attached to it, even better.
Clearly. And for everybody that is listening to us, we have recently at Hexfit launched Hexfit Trends newsletter, which is like a complete ecosystem for keeping you in touch with the industry. So as a software Hexfit, we are like in 39 countries with over 5,000 professionals using us. And so we are aware of a bunch of things that are happening. And this is this mindset that we're creating, like those webinars, where we can share with you some expert that we have met somewhere in those kind of events. And so what I can advise right now is just, if you want to subscribe to the Hexfit Trends newsletter, you will receive a bunch of news of what is happening in the industry, what are the new tech, what are the new products, what are the new tendencies, and everything. And so it can really help you leverage this knowledge to really just improve your business. Maybe if you have some questions into the chat, it will be with a lot of pleasure to just launch them, ask them to Perry. Otherwise, Perry, do you have a last word you think that we should say to everybody, and that everybody should?
Well, I think one, just add what you just said. Education is huge. I really want to commend you and Hexfit for taking that path of educating your, your clients and potential clients, even, because that's a big thing, is just education and keeping them up to speed, and it's an important thing to do. So I think it's a lot of value, because education is real important. I've always advocated for going to these conferences, going to webinars, because even if a lot of times it'll remind you of things that you haven't done in a while, or you're doing this, oh yes, I'm going to do it. Or it's like, it reminds you, what, I used to do that at work. I stopped doing that. And then on top of all the new things. So it's really, education is really important to keep growing in this industry, because it is changing fast. It's really evolving quickly. So you need to be on top of what's out there.
Yeah.
Conclusion, I guess, we'll just sum up, have your passion, be organized, treat people with respect, and you need a plan, right? Whatever type, if it's a boutique, a training studio, a yoga studio, a mainstream facility, 24/7, have a plan, okay, have systems in place, and execute your plan. And if you're not sure of a plan, it's important to reach out to an expert. I learned the hard way when I started, because we had everything was great, but we were failing. We hired a consultant, an expert, and it doesn't hurt to look for an expert, or someone has more experience than you, if something's not working right. That's the last thoughts. I can end off there.
Yeah, clearly. And in this line, I intensely advise everybody to book a demo with Perry on the bottom left. Honestly, Perry, as much as you can help with the software, I think you can help also as counseling and just giving you advices. So everybody, just book a demo, book a call. We have called that a demo, but book a call with Perry. That way you can just bring this webinar further with your specific case of how you can bring your business somewhere else to the next level. Everybody, really thanks for having been there from the beginning of the webinar. We are doing new webinars every 1 week or 2 weeks. So I strongly advise you to subscribe to the Hexfit Trends newsletter. I sent you the link I gave you earlier. We will continue to do those kind of webinar. And I think it's next year. It will be with Nathalie Plamondon, that maybe multiple of you knows. And so we are continuing doing that. In the line of what you said, Perry, everybody stay on the end, like on the top of the knowledge of the industry. It's evolving fast, and I think Hexfit will help you for that. And book a demo with Antaris. Thanks a lot, Perry, for having been there and for having shared that much knowledge with all of our community. And for sure, we'll redo
This last one just add as well to the demo. Like, we are a Canadian company, and we really focus on the Canadian fitness market.
Yeah.
And we offer all the functionality as all the big players out there, but we're Canadians. We're like significantly less money for that as well too. So then we would believe in the Canadian market. But thank you very much, Etienne, for having me as your guest. I appreciate it. I think you guys are doing a great job at Hexfit. And any questions, and I just allude to, people just want to reach out to me, all of my clients, even potential clients, if they reach out, I always try to pay it forward, because I've had people help me when I was younger. So I try to help our clients and answer questions with my background, the FIC, and my experience anytime. Even if they don't become a client, I still try to help. So if I can help, please reach out.
And that's the idea. Everybody, Hexfit, we're just sharing experts that want to share knowledge first. And that's why Perry is there. He's not different than this mindset we have. So thanks, everybody. If you are listening to us in replay, Antaris, you can search it on Google. It's Antaris. So you can just search for it and you will find it quickly. Thanks again, everybody. And thanks, Perry. And we are redoing the webinar.
Bye.